further ado, let's bring in our guest today, Katrin Zimmermann from New
Hello.
York.
Hello.
So we can, we'll hand it over to Katrin. She is an amazing jeweler. She is a professor at Pratt. She can tell you all about her and show you her work. So we're gonna go and spotlight her and get started. So you can keep your video on, everyone. We just ask that you mute yourselves, and then we keep this really lively and interactive. So at any point when you have a question, please put it in the chat and I will ask Katrin your question. So we love to get all those questions to keep it really engaging. So please don't hesitate to put questions, put them in the chat, and we'll ask her. So
yes, please ask questions, because I have prepared absolutely nada for this, right? So if you don't ask me anything, I don't even know what to say, all right? So apart from the fact that I guess I can tell you how I got here in the first place, I was studying Chinese and art and archaeology in London. And one of my friends said, come to New York. And I thought, let's go to New York, maybe. And I arrived and thought, well, I think I need to stay here. So I did, but because I didn't have a visa, I thought, well, maybe I should study something. That way it's easy to stay in the country. And so I did, and I picked jewelry design at FIT. I thought it was totally random. I later realized it wasn't so random after all. And then I stayed ever since then. I've never left this country, and started really doing jewelry right away. I started by doing fine jewelry, really. Then sort of went into that direction of what they call, or used to call, designer jewelry or bridge jewelry. That was in the 90s. At that point, I was also elected to the CFDA, which is the Council of Fashion Designers of America, which at the time was a huge honor because there were only 200 members. I think now there's 600 or 800 members, so it's not such a big deal anymore now. I had a, in the same year that 9/11 happened, my office and studio burnt down completely, and I lost my entire business. And I decided to switch a little bit, and I started doing what is referred to as contemporary jewelry or art jewelry. I really had this idea that I wanted to sell at the Moma, which I did. I sold there for quite a few years, and then I decided to go more into the direction of art jewelry. And at the same time, I started teaching at Pratt Institute, which is truly one of the most fabulous institutions for contemporary jewelry. And I've been there for 6 years now, and have sort of gone down the rabbit hole, I would say. So that's my story, and that's how I'm here. And I'm really, really happy. I just had our final credit with the students yesterday, and they were amazing despite COVID. So it's all good.
And we've had, Katrin's brought a group to our craft fair the past, was it only 1 year or 2 years? I can't even remember.
That's right.
But it was awesome. So they had a booth and they were selling work, and one of them now has done our show as an emerging artist. She's been getting into shows and winning awards. And so I'm sure for you, that's very rewarding to see your students go on.
It's amazing. It's such a nice thing. And actually, that's really such a wonderful connection that I have. And then I should say also, I have another very personal connection to Peters Valley, which is that my daughter's godparents live literally 3 minutes away from Peters Valley. So I've actually, I go there all the time. My daughter's been taking ceramics classes. Actually, she made a couple of cool mugs. So I love you guys for sure.
So we already have a question, which we could jump into and then do the tour. So Roberta has been discussing the African necklace, preferably 2 strand, maybe 4, and she wants to see how it works for a small neck.
That's fantastic. I'm so glad you're here, Roberta. I was emailing her because her issue or her thought was she has a very tiny neck, and she is wondering what the African neck looks on a tiny neck. So I am going to get up quickly and get one of the 2-line necks. So this here is the big Moma African neck that I usually wear. It's actually a one-of-a-kind piece. The idea is, so I can show you this, it is sterling silver cable, and it is held in the back very loosely with this piece is slightly different. Now it's a tube in the back, and you see that you can use these cables and you can pull them on either end. When it goes long on one side, it goes short on the other, right? And so therefore that looks, then you can change the look of the necklace completely. And then you just kind of flop it on as if it was a scarf, right? So it's really nice. You don't have to worry about clasps and so forth, right? So I am going to go and get a 2-line neck, and I'm going to show you how that looks. Okay, should I do that?
Sure. And someone is asking if you have samples of your Moma jewelry. So we'll come back to her. We also have a collection of Katrin's work on our gallery website. Lakota will put that link in the chat, although I think she might be busy helping customers at this moment. So bear with us and we'll grab that link for you. And we're also giving a special for all of you joining us, 10% off your entire order. So anything you buy at Peters Valley with the code MEETARTIST10. So
okay.
Please shop, please buy Katrin's work, please buy work from our 150 artists we represent. We don't have quite everything online, but we've got a lot on there.
Brianne, what was the second question? Did you said if I have
somebody asked if you had samples of your Moma jewelry.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, the African neck was the best-selling piece at the Moma jewelry store for years. It really was. So this is the African neck in 7 lines. You see that there's larger or smaller ones, right? This is a 4-line, one would think, except it is actually a 2-line. So the idea behind designing this necklace was that there are 2 tribes, one in Southeast Asia and one in South Africa, that have the same idea of adorning their neck. And then it's also, because I'm very much influenced by Japanese jewelry and Japanese art in general, it is a reflection of positive and negative space. I'm saying this because the point is that you don't actually need 32 lines to make a really fantastic statement. So these little ones here have a rubber tube at the back. You can then hold the rubber tube and you take this cable. Can you see how that switches? And now it looks completely different, right? So you have this option of changing them around. And Roberta, that's what I meant with this idea of, they actually can be large and they can be small. So let's say this is a way that you like it, and then you pop it around your neck. And there you go, right? So now it's really actually quite short, isn't it? And then if you decide that actually what you want to do is wear it a little bit longer, for example, you can do this, right? And then it gets much, much larger, see? So this is in fact the necklace. I have another, a 2-line necklace that I have in 18 karat gold that I'm gonna show you. That was the other best-selling necklace at the MoMA in silver. At the time. So see, the other nice thing that happens is lots of people start with a 2-line neck because they think, oh gosh, I don't know, is this going to be what I want? I'm not sure. And then they buy another 4-line neck, or they buy a 7-line neck. And then what you can do is you can layer it. So you can buy one that's gold plated, and you could buy one that's all sterling silver. Judy, it's all sterling silver. It is sterling silver cable that is being turned in Italy for me. And then what I do to it is I either gold plate it or I oxidize it so that I get these different colors. At the moment, my best-selling ones are a mixture of silver and vermeil, which is silver that is plated gold, because that way you can have your wedding ring that is white gold and your watch that is yellow gold, and you can mix all of these metals. Roberta, I'm sorry, I do not have another 4-line one. I have, in fact, just had to email somebody and say, I'm so sorry, I don't have one of the 4-line ones. But you have to imagine that, let me show you how that would look. It is kind of as though, of course, you would be popping two lines together, right? So it's each of the lines is, so this is what the 4-line looks, right? And then you move it around. And that's it. I'm so glad you could join so you can see it. Oh, hi, Kristen. Thank you. So those
we had a question. Oh, go ahead.
No, that's it. That's it.
We had a question earlier from Julia who wants to know where you get the inspiration for your designs.
I'm so lucky, you know, because first of all, I never run out of inspiration. And secondly, my inspiration is actually never other people's jewelry. So I'm so lucky that way, because, you know, nobody can ever accuse me of copying or anything like that. My inspiration comes from, honestly, all kinds of really far out things. I remember once being at Wigstock, which I don't know, some of you may or may not know it. It's an incredible celebration of life in New York City. And I saw a man who had dyed his hair in a leopard pattern. And so that was the birth for a really successful line of jewelry for me. That was the zebra line and the leopard line, right? Because I thought, if this guy can do it with hair, I can do it with silver. And so the Africa neck was my real passion for art history. It was these two tribes that are so completely separated and clearly have never been in touch, and yet both of these tribes came up with these, I'm sure you've seen them, these big tubing necklaces that go around the neck and higher, and some people think that it breaks the spine and the back, which it doesn't actually do. But what it does is it pushes down the muscles in the neck, and then it makes the neck look really elongated, right? So there's an Asian tribe who does this, and there's an African tribe who does this, which I think is really extraordinary. So my inspiration is, I mean, it could be something that I see on the street. It could be something that somebody said. My brain is a little strange that way, but I'm really glad it is, actually.
So you're going to show us through your studio and some of the acrylic. Do you want to talk about inspiration for that? And then
yes,
show
I
us?
do. Yes, I do. I would love to tell you about that, because the inspiration for that is actually my daughter. So my daughter's 12 now, and in 2008 she was born. And I don't know if you can tell that from my studio. I'm a very monochromatic person, actually. I do like black and I do like white, and that's kind of it, right? So I was always having a really hard time incorporating color into my jewelry. And then this little bundle was born, and of course suddenly I'm surrounded by all this colorful stuff. And at first I hated it, and then of course I started to really love it. And of course that also sort of made me happy to have this wonderful person in my life. And so I started thinking about color more, and I started thinking, gosh, I mean, it's not so terrible. The only color I liked before is what is still my absolutely favorite color, which is orange. I really love orange. Other than that, I really don't like any colors. But so I started. And then the other thing is, of course, your span of attention gets very short. So what I was looking for is a material that I can move with very fast, that I can work where I don't take weeks and weeks to make it. And so being inspired a lot by different kinds of material and wanting to highlight properties of materials that make them precious, whether or not they are traditionally considered precious, I started working with acrylic, which you have about 45 seconds to form into the piece that you want to form when you thermoform it. I'm going to show you how that works. And it comes in all colors of the rainbow. And at first I thought, well, of course, I'm only going to use black. And then I started trying some other colors. My divorce lawyer's favorite color was red, so I started using red to give her a piece of jewelry to thank her. Hint, hint. And then I, started using all kinds of colors, and I love them. And each time I thought, well, this one isn't going to work, right? I mean, for sure, I'll do a sample and then we can see. And indeed, they all work. So now it's just that color craziness. So I'm all over the place, and I actually like it.
I love too, and you'll show us when you show us around, but some of the acrylics are opaque and some are translucent, and so you can get these different looks too, even with white. But if it's translucent versus opaque, it has a different look and feel. So I know you will show us all of that. But that was one of the things that stood out to me when I was putting your inventory up online.
Oh, really? That's
I like.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's great. See here, I'm putting this on now for the actual and you see how easy that is, right? So it is actually really quite stretchable. And again, I'm sort of, how do I want to say that? I'm sort of all inclusive. I like to make pieces that do not only fit a certain sub-segment of the population, right? So this can be worn by somebody who's got terrible arthritis as well as somebody who's 18, right? You don't have to fidget around with a clasp or so forth. So these things are important to me. And here you go. See, you open it like so, and then you just pop it on and you set it in the back because there's a little spot where it's a sweet spot kind of, and there you go. This is my Zoom necklace. I'm sure you guys have all heard about the Zoom shirt that everybody has, right? You have a little shirt that you quickly put on when you have to go into a Zoom meeting. I have a Zoom necklace because no matter what, you know, if I wear my pajama, I can wear this necklace and then there it is. And, you know, I look good.
I was thinking that about all your necklaces in general. Like when I was putting them up again, I'm like, these are the perfect Zoom necklaces.
Yes.
They're just that pop of color, right? And then you're not wearing this big, heavy, cumbersome.
That's exactly right.
Necklace,
and
so
they
yeah.
fit into the.
Show us.
Okay, so let me go. Let me bring this camera and I'm going to switch that around and I'm going to give you.
Okay, we're gonna spotlight. Lakota, are you there? Do you want to spotlight the iPad?
Wait a minute. Where can I switch the screen now? Have I switched the screen already? No, I haven't, right? You're looking at me. Is that correct?
We're looking at you, but
sorry, I don't actually see anything to spotlight it because the video is not on yet. So once it is, I'd be happy to spotlight it.
Yeah, and I don't
put the video back on. But I only see one of her. I wonder if it kicked you off the meeting. No, you're using the sound from it.
Oh,
yeah,
I know why I can't, because I have to start the video. Here
there
we go. Oh, and now you see me. Oh,
yes, now you're spotlight.
Oops, sorry. Now I need to switch it, correct? Oh, it's switched. There we go. Okay.
Yep, we're good.
I'm going to go very slowly, okay, from the huge plant here and my lovely card catalog. And then I'm going to go slowly. This was a huge poster that I made for a fashion show for New York City Fashion Week. I was doing a fashion show. And here is a whole bunch of all of the things that I'm working with on a daily basis. We're going to switch over there. I'm very aware that if you move too fast, it kind of gets a little bit sickening. So what I want to show you is I'm going to give you a short view of some of the necklaces and all the different colors here, which I think you can see, right? I do those sort of shorter neck pieces as well as some of these really super, super long ones, right? And in the interest and, you know, of sustainability, the way I design these is by, I'm using Adobe Illustrator and the pieces are laser cut. And I'm going to show you what one of these looks like when they come to me, kind of like a UFO. So you see it's completely flat, right? It's a sheet of acrylic that gets printed, that gets laser cut, and each piece fits into another piece, right? So this is one blank that I've had cut in a sort of a baby pink color this is, but it's still covered with paper. And you can see that each one of these little circles fits into the next, and each makes a different kind of piece, right? So for example, this piece right here, this huge, big, long piece here is in fact the piece that makes this one right here. You see? So once I have, I'm going to switch you again. Once I have these pieces here, they get laser cut in Chicago. They then get sent to Rhode Island, where the edges are being nicely polished. And then I get them here and I thermoform them. That means that I put them in a kiln. And when they are the proper temperature, I have about 45 seconds, and I can then mold them into any piece that I want. So what's nice about that is that there is a sort of a double process, right? First, I have to use Adobe Illustrator and design this pattern on the computer, which is completely hands-off in a sense, right? This can only, I can think about in my brain how this could possibly look once I actually get my hands on it. And then when I have these pre-cut pieces, then I have the second sort of possibility to change the design and make something that is completely different. For example, if you see these little, they're called Ouroboros, the one on the left and the right, they're these little three-dimensional designs that sort of go round and round and round, right? They are the same circle that are here in this necklace, right? Where it looks completely different. So that's how I do my design at the moment. I really, really love it. It's so much fun. What I do sometimes is I set stones in it. I have this idea of, you see here on the white ones, you can see the, in this case, these are cubic zirconia. No, I'm sorry, white topaz. I started with diamonds because I thought that's the way, you know, in my sense, that's, you know, taking a very low-end material and a very high-end material and combining them, but people weren't quite agreeing with me. So now I do white topaz, which is very much less expensive, of course. There's a bunch of pieces that I do that look like this, which are rubber and sterling silver. There are pieces like this. This is one of my unique pieces that I'm using the same cable for and trying to sort of recreate other pieces with the cable. Here's my little photography setup. And here are some of the pieces that are 18 karat gold. They are from a capsule collection that I have made. And I'm going to show you this piece right here with the orange, leather is the other best-selling necklace from the Moma. And if you want, I'm going to put that on quickly. Let's put this here. Shall I put it on?
Yes, please.
So it is the same idea. It is, so one of my ideas about design is also asymmetry. And that is what this does beautifully. You see the hook is completely asymmetrical, right? But it is also wearable for Roberta with her 13-inch neck, or, you know, somebody who's got a 20-inch neck, right? Or somebody who's wearing a huge cowl neck sweater, for example. So this is what that looks like, you see? And this piece is, one of the poles is 18 karat white gold. The other one is 18 karat yellow gold. And the post here is, the hook here is 18 karat yellow gold. So I'm really sort of democratic in what concerns materials, right? I don't care. I will use something that people say, why do you use that cheap stuff? And I will use some things that, are exceedingly valuable. That does not make a difference to me. What else can I show you? Let me turn this around again. So here we go.
The other early pieces with the coral.
Ah, yes. Thank you. I actually, I was looking through my archives and I found these fabulous necklaces that I used to do. This is a beautiful turquoise. I'm actually so glad I didn't sell it. I was thinking about it the other day. This turquoise has become literally priceless. And I bought it while I was studying in China and made this necklace out of it. This is again, also completely unobtainable now, right? It's real coral that is, 25 years old at this point. This is a piece of black coral, actually, that until I got that 25 years ago, I didn't even know that existed. And then a piece of stainless steel. So those are sort of some of the other pieces that that I used to do. But then, I also do pieces like that here, right? That are pure rubber, and that got me a very nice cover page in the New York Times, actually. And this is that same necklace that was on the two-line necklace, but this one is, I think it has 8 or 9 pendants. And I just saw a thing popping up. Could you please model the bracelets? I would be delighted because I actually love the bracelets. Let me put this here. And let me try. Here we go. So I'm already wearing one, which is my favorite bracelet. I always wear this one. See, it kind of, I pop it back here, but really what happens is the little bone here kind of comes through here. And then let's try something like this.
And I think we've got a lot of these bracelets on our site. So if you see any and have questions, please ask.
And it's good to sort of, let everybody know whether you have a thin wrist or a wide wrist. That always makes a difference. Let me show you, for example, this white one here. See, the white is a beautiful, I think it's really so nice. It's sort of a little bit less showy. And here you see also what that looks like with the stone, right? So from this point of view of my design, the stones are super random. They are asymmetrically placed and they just go where I feel like they should go at that moment, right? And you just pop them on. And I can show you the other bracelets, which are sort of fun as well. Here, you see, that's when you do a Nancy Cunard, right? But let me show you. So these you can pop on like that. You see, you just plop them on. And then you can, again, wear, 3, 4, or 5 at the same time if you want. And yes, this is all modeled and molded. Well, it's not molded, right? So that it is laser cut. And then I do thermoform each piece personally by hand. So yes, I don't know if you guys remember that fabulous exhibition at the Metropolitan Museum. I know these are fun, right? That was called Manus Ex Machina, and it was this idea of what is true couture that's made by hand, and what are the pieces that are mass produced. And this is what I really like so much about this series that I'm doing now, because the first half of it is completely mass produced. Yes, it is true, right? You could cut 200,000 pieces of flat acrylic. But then the second process is completely couture, or whatever you want to call it, a craft, or, very, very much depends on my doing it right, and my having the experience with the material, and my being able to see this 3-dimensional form and then set it into real life. So I love that idea about it too, in a way, right? Oh, Francesca can't hear me. That is very bad. Luckily, she knows all of this already.
I can hear you. So if anybody else has audio issues, let us know. But
and I wanted to show you, hold on. I wanted to show you that, for example, so this is another bracelet, right? That too is the same blank that this is, right? So from that flat piece, I make either something like that or something like this. So that's sort of, makes me happy. It's a really fun process, actually.
Judy says you have taken the concept of minimal design and production to a beautiful conclusion. Beautifully done.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's funny, right? I do believe, you know, if this has anything to say about my life as an artist, it'll be a little scary because, you know, you know, how at the end, usually artists become super, super, super minimal. And I really have to say, I think I'm getting very, very minimal. I do love that actually. And I love using different material. I'm usually about 5 years ahead of what other people understand, which is a little bit, you know, it's not always easy, but I have found that now people are really starting to understand what this is all about. Oh, and I have to show you my puzzle piece. Can I show the puzzle piece?
Yes, I was just going to ask. You read my mind.
I completely forgot. Wait, let's switch around so you can see. So here we go. And this is, by the way, all my artwork. These are all friends of mine who've, of course, made all of this artwork. So, Francesca's favorite. So this, and I'm sorry, can you
This
see it?
is your newest design? Like you
This
just
is my
came out,
newest,
right?
yes. Let me sort of switch around and talk about it for a second. So in fact, I did used to sell a precursor to this at the Moma many years ago. And then I pulled it again because I thought, you know, this is not, it's not the way that it should be, and it's not really ready 100%. And then now during COVID, I was thinking, you know, I now could maybe have time to start thinking about this and redesigning it. And so that's what I did. So the idea behind that is that, again, with the idea of each circle being in the next bigger circle, right? I took that and designed an entire set of jewelry that is also a sort of a desktop game, if you will, and it's called Puzzle. So, all right, let me show you. So the idea is here, this is what it looks like when you buy it, right? It's like this little flat little package, looks cute, right? It has on the back, it's got the instructions and the whole story. So it's super flat. So this is going back to sort of 2D design, right? So that's what that looks like. And I am, oh, here's one I opened earlier. Of course, it comes in all kinds of different colors, right? So this is what that looks like. So it is I think it's 7 pieces of acrylic that are fitted into each other. And you pull those out, and it comes with this little box here, or the envelope. And in the envelope is a sort of piece of string, or whatever you want to call it, a necklace, and a pair of earring. Where are the earrings? The earring hoops, sort of like these here. I'm going to take a pair off right in a second. Where are we? Here, sort of a pair like these, right? And then what you do is you kind of play around, because the truth is, right, this biggest piece here, for example, is a bracelet, right? So I'm going to, how am I going to, oh, I know.
Put your iPad down, stationary, and then flip it around. Yes.
There we go, right? So this is the bracelet, right? It's super asymmetrical a little bit, right? Super simple, can be your bracelet, right? But of course, this very bracelet can just as well become your necklace, right? So then you would maybe do something like that, right? And then you pop it on as a neck piece, like so, right? The second piece, for example, it can be the second piece that you hang onto your necklace, right? Or it can be the necklace by itself. This third piece, which has my little Exovo logo on it, is yet another piece that you can hang on here, make it larger, or you can start and putting that onto your ear, make an earring out of it. This piece here is the ring, sort of one size fits all, right? So here you go. See, that's what that looks like, right? But again, of course, you are very, you know, you're very welcome to put that instead onto the earring. Let me show you. And then wear it like that, right? So each piece has a completely you can just, thank you, Francesca. I know it's a pretty good idea, right? And so we have the little pieces, you know, and these, again, what you can do is you can say, oh, I just want to wear one earring, but I want to put all of these little tiny pieces on it, right? The smallest, see, then that would look like that. And then you can have one on the other side. So again, you know, we are women who are smart. Just because you don't make jewelry, possibly, does not mean that you don't know how to wear jewelry or how to make things look really good. And I sort of want to celebrate that creativity in every person and not just say to you, here is what this looks like, and this is how you have to wear it. And if you don't, then you're not doing it right, right? So this is the idea. You do every possible thing. The little tiniest one actually can be used as a holder for the string. And then exactly, it's this idea that you participate in my design and you make a new piece of design out of it, right? You could just as well, for example, tie, you know, this big one onto one side of the string and tie the other one onto the other side, and then pop it around and put one through the other, right? So there's millions of options. And the other thing that's super nice is if you're using it, you put it on your desk and it actually looks nice. Sometimes I play with them when I make phone calls or whatever. So that's my new design that I'm really happy about. And yes, it will come. I saw something about purple, and I'm going to show you a purple piece. I don't have this one yet in purple, but I will. It'll come in every single color. At this point, I have the puzzle piece in clear, in that super nice white color, of course in the red, of course in the orange, in a beautiful blue that is a sort of jeans wearing type of blue, and then in black as well. And I'm just going to show you the purple, because if you like purple, you're going to love this color. See, here's the purple. So if ever you imagine that piece in purple, and of course, right? So here, see, this is another really nice one because it's very easy to, it has the loops at the back. It's kind of the contemporary interpretation of a double strand of pearls, right? And then you pop it on and you put it like that. And then there is the purple, right?
Great. So I want to go back. I want to make my comment about the puzzle piece set, because I think what you were saying, what I love about it is this idea we hear all the time from like a lot of our customers that appreciate handmade work, handmade jewelry, and they're like, I'm not creative. I can't make anything, right? You're giving them that introduction, and that like level of comfort to kind of show that yes, everybody can be creative in their own way. And I just love that. I love that like collaborative, interactive, participatory.
Yes. And if you guys just saw Francesca, what she said, if you get two colors, of course, she's already thinking about two colors, which doesn't surprise me because that's what her work is like, right? But it's true. If you get two sets, one in black and one in white, then you can do the same little size, but one is black, one is white. Then you can start really mixing it up, right? So if you imagine you get two of these things, one in one color, one in another, you have, I don't know, 40 pieces of jewelry that you can wear at any time. So yeah.
And then it all stores very compactly. So it's not like all those pieces of jewelry are taking up all this room either. I mean, the whole thing is brilliant. I love it. I love it.
Yes, exactly. How did I? Julia Zimmerman, you're going to love this story because I'm sitting around thinking about, okay, so I need to have a name for this, company that I envisage. Except, I mean, Katrin Zimmermann, that doesn't sound great, right? I'm thinking, we have Donna Karan, we have Robert Lee Morris, we have all these beautiful names, right? And of course, at that time, I was very much in fashion still, right? And I'm thinking, Katrin Zimmermann, that does not sound right. I can't. I mean, this is ridiculous. So I thought also, of course, because I am German, right? And I'm using, words that are in fact German. I mean, now I see you're also a Zimmerman, but I thought, okay, I have to find something that people can pronounce in any language, whether or not you know, it's their language, right? And so, of course, you know, I'm a classicist. I learned Latin and ancient Greek. So I thought, well, you know, Latin is the language. Everybody can pronounce it. It is indeed the lingo of law. Let's use Latin. And then I started thinking about this idea. It's also the foundation of modern biology. It's omnia vivum ex ovo. That means everything that's alive comes out of the egg. And then at the same time, I had this idea of making the packaging into these eggs, and then each collection would have a different kind of material, and you know, these eggs would be standing on your beautiful desk or somewhere, and then you would open it up, and ex ovo, out of the egg would come this piece of jewelry, right? So I thought, okay, I'm going to call it ex ovo. And then I got people calling it OXO and XOXO and ex oro. And then finally, in the end, I realized, you know, I could have just as well called it Katrin Zimmermann. I really could have. So, but I love it. It reminds me of where I come from, and you know, what I've sort of the path I took to get here. So that's the answer to that.
So show us some more necklaces, because you've got some other designs.
But
You know what one is my favorite? That double folded. I have my eye on that one in translucent blue.
Oh, let me see. So now I have two different ones, and I'm going to show you. There's another kind that I just really adore, which is good. I'm glad, Julia. You see, that pops on like that. So it depends on where the opening is, right? Sometimes it goes in the back, sometimes it goes in the front. Some people actually do turn it around and wear it, you know, the other way around. Is that the one that you mean?
Yeah, I love, like, you sent us a bunch of different photos, and so it was interesting how on some of them, like, kind of like that African necklace where like some parts are longer or shorter. Yeah, exactly.
This one, for example. And so that's why, you know, when somebody orders something, I usually start a little conversation with them, and I say, so, you know, do you want to, I mean, Roberta can attest to that. I said to her, would you mind sending me a photograph of your neck? And I'm sure she thought, what the, you know, this is strange, but now she knows why, right? So usually, you know, I ask which is the one that you prefer, what is your size, you know, in a sense, can I figure it out? So yeah, this one is one that is a little bit longer, right? And then let me show you the blue, because the blue is
so if anybody gets a necklace through the gallery, it can be the same process, right? Because you've got some in stock. So I just did this for a customer with mugs the other day. She wanted a specific glaze, and I picked all the ones that seemed the most different, sent her a picture. She picked the exact one. So we can certainly do that for you.
That is exactly right. I just had a client who, you know, said, oh, I want the white, but the opaque white. And I put the two that I had next to each other, and she immediately knew. She said, no, I want the one on the right. So yes, absolutely. Yeah. Either I'll send a photo, or I'll be, you know.
That's the one I love. And I have a very skinny neck, so it would probably hang even a little bit lower on me, which would be just perfect.
Well, either that, or, you know, there are, for example, so now look, so because of course these are sometimes it's the first circle that I use, and sometimes it's the second, right? So the idea is that I always have this option of making a larger one and a slightly smaller one. See, so this one is a lot smaller. That's a lot smaller. Do you see? So maybe that one would be the one that you would get. And of course, I'm totally fine, by the way, if somebody says, oh, this doesn't sit right. I just warn you, if you come to my studio, I have people who come every 3 weeks, because they, you know, every time they come, they see something else that they want, and then they pick that. But of course, you can always say, oh, this doesn't fit right. You know, do you have another size, or can I try another one on? That's all completely fine, of course. See, these are the very, very simple ones. Sometimes people start with this, and then they go from there, right? And then I want to show you that clear, one of my favorite materials is this clear, because of course, again, it's the super minimalist one, right? Where it doesn't even have a color anymore. And it's still, I adore that. I mean,
it's like light reflection, right?
Yes, right. Oh, and I think you may see that also. So what I do is I have one side of the acrylic sandblasted, and the other side is high polish. So you can see that here. Do you see how on the bottom one you see a reflection, but the top one is matte? So that is another thing that I like to play with, is these very subtle differences between, you see here, you see that too. The first one is matte and the bottom one is very shiny, right?
Yeah, sheens. I do the same thing in my paintings, right? I make my own paint. So it's like the opacity is one, which you do, and then the sheen is another one.
It's so
all those ideas, like they're all connected, even in different materials that people are working in. It's all those same principles.
yeah, and it's nice, right? Because people don't even, you know, they're attracted because of its simplicity, and they're attracted because of the colors and all of that, and then they're really drawn in. And then often I have people who say, wait a minute, you know, I just had somebody in the studio 2 days ago, and she said, but can't you make this necklace but the other way around, so that this piece is, and of course, yeah, I can, right? So that's when you go down the rabbit hole. So it's a fun thing to do, though.
So how about earrings? Show us some earrings.
Earrings.
We've got a couple designs, I know on the gallery site.
You have, yeah, you have, right?
Yeah, there's like those asymmetrical ones, and then there's the layered. There's two different styles with the like 3 or 4 pieces each.
Yes, hold on. Let me go here and let me show you. See, here's some of these. They're like all mixed up here at the moment, but it is that exact idea. So let me see. Let me pick, for example. Here we go. I'm just going to hold them up because I haven't been wearing earrings in so long. So this is the one, the same idea, right? If I have earrings with a bunch of rings, then, you know, one is opaque, the other 2 are translucent, right? So these are super nice. And, you know, I think they weigh 8 grams. I mean, they're incredibly light. They are not at all heavy. So it's not something where you have to worry about, you know, being weighed down or your earring lobes getting all messed up. So this is the outline earring. And then we have, for example, these guys here, which have a little, they have a little gold disc in them as well. So they kind of do a little bit of popping up. Again, you can change these around, right? You can take a piece out. You can, you know, put 5 on one and not wear anything on the other. It's all up to you. The smallest ones are these, which are asymmetrical. Yes, you can attest to it, right? I mean, they're really light. So, but again, they make a big impact, right? These are the smallest ones, literally, that I do. And then we go to, for example, this kind of thing, right? The larger ones. And you can see also, I think that it's nice to mix the different colors. It doesn't have to all be the same. It doesn't have to all be the same color, right? You can mix, you know, and you can, of course, usually what I do is if I have a translucent and an opaque version of the color, then I like to offer it like that. And then the customer can still say, you know what, I actually would prefer the only opaque, or I would prefer only the translucent, right?
And so
I did make the ring.
So that people can understand the way that we have them listed on our site, the TL means translucent and OP means opaque. So if you are shopping and you see that's the differentiation. And please ask us any questions, just send us an email if you have questions about any of those pieces.
So I want to show you, somebody just asked about the rings. So yes, these rings are my own. These are, in fact, I made that design at FIT while I was studying, because we were being taught by the head designer of Bulgari. And he said, I want you to make a design with a middle stone. And, you know, I mean, maybe FIT is good for fashion, but it's really not so great for jewelry. So these people, you know, came up with all these strange designs. And I came up with this ring here where I said, look, you know, the stone in the middle is, you know, by the very simple act of tilting it up a little bit, I have completely changed the sort of the feeling of the stone, right? So this ring is called the tilt ring, and I have actually, it's also one of my absolute best sellers. So you see, this is what you do, right? You can tilt them, you can push them together, they can all face the same direction. And this one is a white diamond in white gold and a yellow diamond in yellow gold. And I joke is that's, you know, that's the good thing I got from my ex, that and my daughter. So, so it's a really, really old piece. The other ring that I did is the subway ring, which, you know, was a kind of a self-defense mechanism, which tells you how I felt when I first came to New York City. I was a little scared, I guess. So, but that's the tilt ring. So yes, I you know, I can't, Francesca is really good about this. She wears everybody's jewelry all the time. First of all, you know, I'm so busy with jewelry all the time that I rarely wear it. And when I do, I just throw on whatever it is that I have of my own that, you know, that is there, which usually means it's the one that still needs polishing or the one that still isn't quite ready. So.
Questions? Anyone else have questions?
Let me sit down. Do you think I should sit down or should I?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Francesca's like me. Well, you collect. I got a little quick tour of Katrin's house earlier because she had to go answer the door in our practice session. And so you are still, even though you might not necessarily collect jewelry, you collect other works of art. So Francesca, I know she always buys lots of artist jewelry. That's her thing. And so everybody's got their what they love to collect because we all appreciate.
Yes.
Sure.
And in fact, wait, let me show you this because this is nice, actually. Just hold on a second. This is my desk. This is where I am every day, where I work and where I do my things. And this here is Francesca's bracelet that is always accompanying me. It's always there with me, actually. And the lovely earrings that she sent me when COVID broke out and everybody was, you know, not knowing what was going to happen. So Francesca, they're always right here. Yeah, they are.
Kristen wants to know if we see work that you have, but it's not available on the gallery, do you take orders? And you might also have them on your website, right? xovo.com.
Yes. Yes. So it might be on the website, but I'm absolutely delighted to get emails. And I just got I'm gonna tell you a nice story. I got an email from a lady in Switzerland, and she ordered a necklace that 2 pendant necklace from the Moma. And I said, gosh, you know, I emailed her because I went to school in Switzerland and I don't really get that many Swiss customers, right? I said, gee, you know, I wonder, how did you find me and so forth? And she said, well, my godmom bought this fantastic necklace at one point at a museum in Switzerland called Fondation Bayerler. And she was telling us about this fantastically creative designer. And I'm thinking, oh my God. And then she said that they call it Gotte, the godmom, passed away, and she gave her this necklace of mine, but her sister also loved it so much that she decided she was going to polish it up and give it to her sister. What a nice person. And when she did that, she saw the stamp in the hook and she thought, let me try and Google it and see if I can find it. And she found me. And so now she ordered one for herself. Isn't that nice? So yes, absolutely. And I actually am going to have to make that one in the old way because she liked it with the poles being square rather than round, which is what I do now. So I'm absolutely happy to do that.
You photograph the jewelry for your website. So yes, because you showed us your little studio, right?
Yes, I do. But I have to tell you, I mean, first of all, it's slightly irritating. I mean, the newest photos I made are the ones from the puzzle. And that was actually fun because, I had to get them into all these different shapes and, make them look in such a way that, that it tells a story, right? So people understand, how am I going to use this and how does this work? But yes, I do. Sometimes I send them out, but I have realized that actually, my photography is all right most of the time. I used to even scan it. I used to have a flatbed scanner and I would just scan the jewelry and that would also look really nice. But yes, I do photograph my own. And then of course, when I have a fair amount of jewelry that appears in magazines and so forth. So if I was on my website, I'll pop that in to sort of show what a piece might look like on some possibly tall and possibly skinny person, right? It's always interesting.
So you need to make a video for your puzzle. I don't know, some websites you can put videos like on your products. I know on mine I can do GIFs, but I took videos and turned them into GIFs. But then you can show all the different ways, because that's great.
This is really true. I have to do that. But, again, it's sort of not the right time to do that, right? Except I have a very lovely, very, very lovely neighbor who is a therapist and runs the program for survivors of torture at Bellevue Hospital. So she's an extraordinary person, and she's also a very beautiful woman. So we meet for a glass of wine on our stoop every day. And I asked her the other day, if we do this socially distanced, can I photograph the jewelry on you? And she said, yeah. So it's in the works. Let's put it that way. We have to have a little more wine before we do it.
Anyone else have questions? I know we're a little over 12, but we want to get everyone's questions answered. So please put them in the chat if you have any. Maybe not. Well, it's been a wonderful treat to have you. So thank you
so much. It's a real pleasure. It's so much fun. And I really want to say that, it's so nice to, actually, Francesca and I were just a couple of days ago, I believe we were on a Zoom of the Museum of Arts and Design, where, they do this, used to be called Loot, which is a show of contemporary jewelry every year. And we were talking about how important, especially at this time, it is for all of us to connect, and how actually, just in the same way that she popped up here now, she knows my jewelry and she knows me, but it's fun to just see each other and connect in some way. And so for all of you who make that possible, I really want to thank you, because it's really a lifeline to us as well, just even to be able to talk and show off what we do and just get that feeling of connection. So thank you. I really, really appreciate that.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And like we said, you can shop Katrin's work on our website, on hers. We've got that 10% off coupon for anything. So all your holiday shopping, you can use it in person or online. So thank you again. And then tune in next week. It's the last one before our break. Although I hope we can continue it in the future, so stay tuned. But we have Bruce Dennert, who is our head of ceramics, will be joining us next week. So that is also going to be fun and very different. So they're all different because there's so many different kinds of artists, and we love meeting all of them. So thank you again, everyone. And thank you, Katrin. And have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Enjoy, you guys. Thank you so much.
It was great to see you. And hi, Francesca.
Thank you. Ciao. Ciao.